Thank you, Member for McAllister. I call the member for Whitsunday.
Thanks very much, Mr Deputy Speaker. Well, Mr Deputy Speaker, rarely does a week go by in central north and far north Queensland where we don't see or hear of a report of a crocodile in our waterways, on our beaches or off our beaches. In fact, it was only yesterday, Mr Deputy Speaker, at a beach that you may be familiar with yourself, Bucosia, in the southern part of my electorate, in the beautiful northern beaches. Just off the beach, reports of a crocodile. And less than 24 hours later this morning, reports of a 3-metre monster on Harbour Beach in the city that I represent in Mackay, just basically the other side of the border. And this croc, well, it's been reported already in the Daily Mercury and other local media, Mr Deputy Speaker, not surprisingly. And I want to acknowledge Dylan Kidman, who set the authorities onto the case this morning, the lifeguard who saw this crocodile. What is next? This was actually next to the flags or near the flags on Harbour Beach, Mr Deputy Speaker. It is a growing menace, a 3-metre crocodile, and what do we see from the Palaszczuk Labor government? Diddly squat. In fact, we of course had the Safer Waterways Bill through the parliament not that long ago. 83 votes to 5, the vote went down. And you've got to ask yourself, why won't we see some politicians putting public safety and community safety first? Look, I'm not trying to wipe out the species, Mr Deputy Speaker. I've never advocated for a free-for-all. I don't want everyone walking around in North Queensland with handbags. I'm not David Attenborough. I'm not an expert on crocodiles, but I did sit on that committee and I heard from some of the leading authorities about what needed to be done. And there is a growing menace, as I say, and I remind people in central north and far north Queensland, the LNP, when it came to the crunch with that bill, they voted with Labor and the Greens, hence the vote was 83-5. But as for Mr Kidman, he told the Daily Mercury today, also he reminded readers of that paper, that there was a crocodile around Christmas time at nearby Lambert's Beach, and he said, and I quote, "The croc that time was about 3 metres as well, and it actually launched out of the water to try and grab someone's dog." End of quote. Mr Deputy Speaker, this is going to be a continual problem for people of North Queensland. It's a worry for our tourism industry. And I can tell you now, I do not want to be on the phone to the BBC, CNN and Al Jazeera in damage control, trying to mitigate the damage of our tourism industry on the back of a fatal attack. And I've said today in the media,
Order.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I've said today, with great passion, if I may say so, there will be blood on our beaches if corrective action is not taken. The first job of any government, local government, state government or federal government, is to protect its citizens and our tourists. And I'll tell you now that the TTNQ people who look after tourism in the far north, Tourism Whitsundays, tourism operators, they're running scared. They're terrified of something bad happening. And it's not a matter of if it will happen, Mr Deputy Speaker, it is when. I spoke to Sweet FM in the Burdick and I reminded them that the local MP also voted against that bill. It's a disgrace. Something needs to be done.
Thank you, Member for Whitsunday. I call the member for Toowoomba.